What's going on, YouTube? It's James with Shyhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and I got another battle report for you today. It is Michigan GT, round number 2. Now, guys, if you guys caught my round 1 game, I had a massive 20-0 victory. It was a crushing defeat for the Orcs and Goblins to the Sylvan Elves. And it tossed me up right away to Table 1. And on Table 1, I'm going to play, basically, there was only 2 other players, I believe, that got a big 20-0 win on Game 1. And one of them being Jeremy Gottschalk and the other one being Chris Mintz. So, they basically paired me up against Chris Mintz Game 2. Chris is the one guy I just did not want to play again. I just did not want to play him. And I even walked up to him and he said it to me, I said it to him, and he was just like, well, might as well get it out of the way now before the game continues going on. And I was just like, yep, let's do this. We're just going to go ahead and get this out of the way right now. Anyways, so let's go over what I have on the table, and let's go over what he has, and basically we'll go from there. As you can see, this is pictures from the last game, but this shows you my army. I got my dogs on the left corner. I got the Space Rock, which is my Gargantula Spider with chicken head on it. I got my 20 Bushwhackers in the middle and a column going down. They have both my wizards in the wizard bunker. I have the K-Pack, which is a 3 Goblin Wolf Chariot unit. I got my A-Rock. I got Crom the Conqueror, the Idol of Chicken. I got my 20 Feral Orc Edbashers with the big Stabadon. And then I have my Common Goblins, my 45 Common Goblins with 3 Shady Gits and my BSB with the War Banner. I got General Zod, and Zod is my general, basically. Anyways, I would much prefer to play Jeremy Gottschalk just because I brought Zod with the freaking Dragon Helm just to counteract Jeremy's freaking Burning Blade of Chaos. But no, I'm not fighting that today. Fighting this guy right here sticking his tongue out. I tell you, I get pictures of people when they're not paying attention. I love doing it. It just gives me the slightest, like, I got you, motherfucker. Alright, over here in Magic, I got Cascading Fire, Scorching Salvo, Pyroclastic Flow, and Flaming Swords. Over here, I got Deceptive Glamour, Will of the Wisp, and Bewitching Glare. And then I realized I have a glare in my camera, so I clean it out. And let's go over what Chris has. Chris has 2 units of zombies here. It looks like 20 zombies apiece. Then he has a block of Skeleton Warriors. They have the War Banner. And they have, I want to say they have Hand Weapon Shield. Over here, as you can see on the left, he has his Altar of Undeath. And then he has unit of Giant Bats. And then there's his big boy, the General, his Zombie Dragon. Now, over here he has another Altar of Undeath, that giant pillar monster thingy. Then he has 3 Necromancers, unit of fucking Wraiths. And another unit of zombies, like 32 zombies, I want to say. And then here's his wizards. And then over here, he has his hammer unit, which is his 4 winged reapers. Alright, so magic. We're going to turn 1. Now, we're playing in the diagonal. I'm going to just show you this picture right here. We're playing in the diagonal. And we're playing Hold the Center. And he basically dropped his whole army saying, you're going to take first turn. And that's where he went. I think I dropped the dogs. And then he was just like, I'm going to drop everything. You take first turn. I said, okay, fine. So what ended up happening was, this is my thought process. And basically, I'll give you what you don't see in the other video. If you watch the Evershade Gaming's video. Basically, his whole army has a 5-up regen, and his zombie dragon has a 4-up regen. His zombie dragon has no fears on my list because I have no war machines, and even if I did have war machines, it's not going to matter much. He has a 4-up regen. He has a 4-up ward against magic, so pyromancy's not going to do a goddamn thing because he has an obsidian rock or whatever it is. Alright, he's -1 to get shot at, so multiple bow shots aren't going to do shit, really. And not only that, he's giving him -1 to shoot at aura out. So this guy has a 5-up regen, an aura that you can't really shoot his army. Even if you could shoot him, he's going to restore wounds and regen wounds as fast as possible. So, this kind of puts me in a conundrum. Now, the one thing I did was I overloaded the right side with the spiders in the K-Pack. They're faster, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a double or triple charge off onto his winged reapers. If I could hit him with all 3 of those, I'll destroy him. If his altars creep up close enough, I'm going to hit him as well. Now, he made sure that he didn't put anybody on the line, you know, the 18-inch line, because he knows I'll do a turn 1 wog charge. I would easily do that to his army. So he made sure he was like 19.1 inches away. And then basically my goblins and Crom, my original target, which right now is those skeletons and the zombies, because I could just outgrind them with this unit, with both Crom and any unit of the savages or the goblins. Now the savages are in the center. Just basically, if I run into his general, I run into his general. If I run into anything, the savages actually are pretty good to shred apart anything really in his army, as long as I get the chance to get in at full capacity. Basically, that's how the table looks, though. Like I said, he's going to make me drop first, or take first turn, so I'm going to go ahead and Vanguard up with my wolves, and then it's going to start off turn 1, Orcs and Goblins. Turn 1, Orcs and Goblins. I don't really move too much. I move the Goblins, I move Crom, and then basically I just kind of play with those max ranges of his Reapers. I don't want his Reapers charging me. I want to charge his Reapers, and I want him to kind of back up a little bit because he's running out of table space. Magic Phase got 10 power dice. Go ahead and I do a cascading fire just to get the attribute off. Goes off, end up doing a wound over here onto his winged reapers. That's all that really happens. Everything else was kind of out of range. I tried to do a ruby ring and a pyro flow, and it just got stopped. It's going to start off his turn, turn 1. I might have shot him with some bows and shit, but like I said, nothing really sticks on that bow shots. It's going to start off turn 1, Vampire Counts. Vampire Counts turn 1. He moves his... I left my dogs there where he could not march into my dogs, and he couldn't charge into my dogs because I was hiding behind the rock. So he moves his wraiths right in front of my dogs. That's okay. And he left it where if I charge him, I cannot charge my goblins into those wraiths as well. And then he kind of moves back. He shimmies back just a little bit. Magic Phase, he got 7 power dice. Goes ahead and he starts restoring zombies and skeletons, growing his bunkers bigger. And that's all that happens. He restores those wounds on the Winged Reapers. Going to start off turn 2. Turn 2, Orcs and Goblins. Now, guys, at this point, I'm going to go back to this picture right here. At this point right here, I'm looking at a gamble. I'm looking at a huge, huge gamble. I'm far enough where I could charge the dogs, or the chariots, into his zombie dragon. What I really want to do, what I really, really want to do, is charge the K-Pack into the zombie dragon, Krob and the goblins into his skeleton unit, and I'll outgrind them, and all I really need is the K-Pack to hold for a turn. If they do, the goblins have good positioning, alright, and I could be able to flank charge him on the following turn, or charge him in the following turn, because it will take about 2 turns. It'll honestly take about 2 turns of my goblins with Crom to kill those skeletons. The skeletons are only inside of a 6-inch bubble of, or I'm sorry, the 6-up regen, because the other altar is a little too far away. So that's my thought process. So I'm gonna have to call out the Wog. So I do. I call out the Wog. I charge in. Now it's only like a 7 on the goblins, like a 5 or 6 on Crom, and then the chariots need a 10. Well, the chariots nail the 10, Crom nails the 7, and then, or 5 or whatever it is, and the goblins fail the fucking charge. Are you kidding me? Ah, well, Crom got in. That's good news. Now here's my other goal, is giving the +1 wound on the chariots, and then try to get off the flaming swords, and or I don't have the wheel turn, it's just the flaming swords off on the chariots, so that way I'm getting +1 of wound on top of +1 of wound from Crom. So I'll be wounding them on 4s and 3s, basically. 3s on impact hits, 4s on everything else. As you can see, my goblins just went forward. My dogs passed their march check, and I marched the dogs to the flank of his skeletons over here. And yeah, I moved the savages up, but they're still far enough where I can't get charged by his winged reapers. I moved Zod up, and this is one of the major things I'm thinking about. Is like, I didn't want to move Zod up, but if I move Zod up within 12 inches of the chariots, if he wins that combat, I'll have my leadership 9 general there and a BSB reroll there, so I should be able to stick. Alright, anyways, Magic Phase got 8 power dice. Go ahead and I do a ruby ring on these guys. He lets it go. I kill off a couple. I go ahead and I do the pyro flow. He lets it go. I kill off a couple more. He's just basically stopping my my flaming swords, which he does. I think I failed it anyways because I just started using my dice on this, realizing that he was gonna let it all go until flaming swords comes out. Shooting phase, I shoot the skull splitter into him, and I just end up killing off the last wraith here. Over here I start shooting all the shots from both spiders into his winged reapers. I end up doing a wound onto them, and then over here close combat. You can see this on the video. I go in, I do about, I want to say like 13 impact hits, and I got a really good roll, like 11 wounds. Alright? Well, he has a 3-up armor and a 4-up regen. So he grabs all the dice and he rolls the armor saves. He saves 1 out of 11. Alright? So I'm like, holy shit, I just did like 8 or 9 wounds. Alright? I think it was like 8. I want to say it was 8 wounds. I was like, holy shit. And you see him, you can see it like in his face. He grabbed my dice and he's like looking at it like, oh shit, I might lose my zombie dragon right now. So he grabs the dice, he rolls all my dice that I just rolled to wound him, and he regen saves all of them except for 2. I only did 2 wounds. I almost popped that fucking zombie dragon. I almost popped him on 1 fucking shot. And he fucking regen saved 6. 7 wounds total he saved. Motherfucker, man. Oh, motherfucker. That was with the +1 wound from Crom. Motherfucker. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Anyways. He goes ahead and he swings back. He does 4 wounds onto my chariots. Now I have a charge and 2 wounds, which is 3. He did 4 wounds back. He's beating me by 1, Fear, and Van Karstein. So I'm down by 3. I'm a leadership 6, rerollable, and I fucking fail it. My dogs fucking run. All I needed them to do was stick 1 fucking turn. 1 fucking turn. All I needed them to stick. And then he chases towards my direction, which he didn't go far at all. He rolled a really low number. Alright? But now he's really close to just destroy whatever he wants. If this wasn't the case, my goblins are going to have a great charge on the next turn. My savages are going to have a great shot on the next turn. We're going to see how this goes. But anyways, it's not the case. That is not what happened. Turn 2, vampire counts. Turn 2 vampire counts. He charges into Zod. He moves up his altars. He moves up his wing reapers. He moves his bats to chaff my spiders. This is ugly. This is ugly. Anyways, magic phase. He gets 9 power dice. He starts healing his fucking general. Of course he does. You can't not heal the general. But Jesus Christ, it does. It's so pointless. Like every wound is so pointless. It's so demoralizing. It really is. Goes ahead and gives these guys ancestral aid, and then he goes ahead and, like I said, he heals his general. Oh no, wait, this is going to close combat. Close combat. Zod ends up putting on 2 wounds onto his general. His general goes back and he does a fucking toxic breath attack, does 2 wounds onto Zod. I failed both ward saves. Then he goes ahead and he swings away and he ends up killing Zod. He said it himself. If I had the Bluffer's Helm, he would have thought twice about that whole combat. But since I took off the Bluffer's Helm to give myself the damn Dragon Helm, this is what happens. So annoying. He overruns, and the angle he's at, he's going to hit the flank of my goblins. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Turn 3, Orcs and Goblins. Turn 3, Orcs and Goblins. Well, I saw this. I'm going to go back to this picture here. You can see in the bottom right corner, Baxter's unit staring into that dragon. So when he charged in, he overlaps, and I go ahead and I charge the flank of his zombie dragon with the freaking second combat block, or common goblin block. My dogs, or my chariots, rallied. I charged the savages into his reapers. Now, part of my plan here is the savages will do enough wounds to his reapers, hopefully hold them there for a turn or 2, whatever, right? And then once I kill the bats, my spiders should be able to get right into him, both of them. I mean, like the savages are an expendable unit. I don't mind if they die. Okay, the whole point here is is that I hope they do enough wounds where it weakens them up so when both spiders go in, both spiders could finish the job. And maybe the chariots. Okay? Down below, yeah, he has a charge of flank, and he could potentially do 4 wounds if I challenge out with 1 out of my, 10 characters in that unit that could freaking challenge. I have 5 Shady Gits, 2 Champs, the BSB, and 2 Wizards that all could challenge that General. And I could actually crumble him to death as long as I can stop his restoring wounds, right? The problem here is he's going to do about 7 combat res. Wait, charge, flank, 4 wounds, and a Van Karsten. He gets 7 combat res no matter what. Well, I have a charge flank, big flank, 4 banners, and 3 ranks. I'm at 10 combat res. That is crazy, right? So I have a good chance of actually crumbling his general to death. My whole goal right now is looking at those altars is make sure those altars do not get in my way. If those altars charge in, it's game over. If those altars charge in, it is fucking game over. Magic Phase got 8 power dice. I go ahead and I throw stupidity on the altar. I am trying to make sure that he fucking doesn't get to me. I think I even gave, I think I forgot to give him the -1 attribute for the movement. I don't think it mattered though. Or I gave it to the other one. That's what it was. I gave it to the other guy. Anyways, that's all I really got off on Magic. It looks like I have Cascading Fire up on Crom. Crom has been just grinding these guys. Grinding and grinding. Every round, just killing skeletons. Every round. He's done 1 wound onto Crom. Crom has just killed And the thing is, +1 wound on Crom. Bonuses on top of that freaking Cascading Fire. So every turn, I'm doing 5 wounds in that front rank. It's just ridiculous. Over here close combat, I kill the bats. Over here close combat, I challenge out with my champ. He destroys my champ, and I get 2 combat res because he restored I think I did 3, but he restores a wound for vampiric. So he has 4 wounds. He's almost fucking dead. Holy shit. Now I make my major mistake here. This is by far the biggest mistake I made. Is after I won this combat, I try to take away the flank from him. If I take away the flank by facing him, I figure it's 1 less combat res, he has a better chance of crumbling to death, right? When I did that, it leaves my flank open to those chariots, to the altars. It's my big major mistake. And of course, I think I did an illegal reform down below because I think I'm supposed to have 1 more sticking out on the flank there. Anyways, over here close combat. Holy shit! I mean, he killed at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He killed 11 of my savages, but my savages did at least 7 wounds or 8 wounds. My savages put in some work. I think I lose combat, but I'm steadfast. But holy shit, I almost ripped them up, even with their 5-up regen. If they didn't have a 5-up regen, he was just gonna freaking crumble and die. Holy shit. But my savages still put in some work. I'm glad that I brought this unit back from the dead, but they're probably going to die on the next turn. Over here, close combat, Crom as well as the Wolf Raiders are going ahead into town and just freaking ripping up skeletons here. And I end up winning combat, but the thing is, as you can see, his zombies on the top are coming around the corner, so I'm going to go ahead and reform, and I reform like so, just basically so he has a longer charge, and yeah, that's where it goes. It's going to start off his turn. Turn 3, vampire counts. And I'm just going to say it right now. This is the turn that he wins the game. This is the turn he wins the game. He charges. He passes his stupidity check. He charges both his altars into the flank of my goblins. He charges his zombies into my wolves. Now, honestly, if he failed all those charges, I'm probably going to win. I'm probably going to eventually I have 2 more turns of grinding him down. I could do something else where I could get in his way. I could freaking tear up more of his skeletons. My spiders will be in the flank. Stuff like that. It's not what happens. He gets in with every fucking charge. Every fucking charge. Magic Phase, he got 4 power dice. He goes ahead and restores wounds on his general, and then he turns off, for some reason, the stupidity spell. He meant to turn off the Cascading Fire, but he picked the wrong. He said, "Get rid of this stupid spell," and I didn't know if he meant the stupid stupidity spell or the stupid Cascading spell. And he even picked up my stupid spell, the stupidity spell, and threw it at me, which I was like, okay, he really meant Cascade, but he it was just the whole thing. It was just the way it happened. Over here close, or he restored these fucking wounds because he's been doing bubble evocations. And then since there's an extra guy back, he goes ahead and he rips open my savages. My savages die. I stick for some goddamn reason, and he charged zombies in. But or no, I think I die and I run and he chases me. But he only runs like 3 inches or 2 inches, and he ends up running in front of his Tomb Reapers, which basically, or Winged Reapers, which basically sets up a fail charge in the next one. It's turn 4 Orcs and Goblins. Turn 4, as you can see, like I said, the zombies went crooked. They're right there. So my spider's going to go into the flank of his zombies. What I should have done, to be honest, what I should have done here was charge both spiders into the zombies. I split them up. I charged the A-Rock to the zombies and the Chicken Rock into the Reapers, figuring I only have to fight 2 Reapers. I'll probably win that fight. A-Rock will eventually grind the zombies down and get into the other Reaper, and it'll be a good, glorious win with the Monster Mash. Like, get in, both of them charge in. Yeah. Okay. I don't have a picture of it. I think at this point I don't know why I didn't take pictures. So, what ends up happening here in close combat, he does a couple wounds onto the spider. Spider beats up some zombies. He crumbles a bit. There's no picture of it, the aftermath, but basically, since he still has a 5-up regen, because at the start of the turn, the altars were there, and he has a 5-up regen, I didn't kill as many zombies as I thought. I didn't kill as many zombies as he thought. They're going to fucking stick there in big mass of zombies. The Reapers, on the other hand, they have the 5-up regen. I go ahead and I swing, and I whiff. And I mean, I whiff bad. And he goes ahead and he swings back. He does 4 wounds onto the spider. Spider's stubborn 6, but fails it and runs. The Chicken Rock runs. It's going to start off turn 4 vampire counts. Turn 4 vampire counts. As you can see, over here in this fight over here, my bad, there's a lot going on. He already charged the flank of my dogs. He killed 3 dogs. I lost that combat. The dogs ran away. The dogs are running this way. Okay? He's going to now charge into the flank of Crom, which I'm just kind of have to take it because Crom's been fighting. As you can see, his skeletons were almost dead. His skeletons only had about 13 skeletons left. The big fight in the center, since both altars got in and did impact hits, they just ripped apart my goblins, and there's nothing I could really do about it because he's T5 and I'm not going to get anything off from him doing any wounds. I thought I left... clear my throat here. I thought I left my goblins 8 inches away from Crom so I could get the +1 wound bonus. Well, after where I put my after reforming and leaving my goblins where they're at, where it was exactly like 7.9 or 8 away from the goblins to Crom, when we started the fight and I said I'm +1 to wound, Chris goes ahead and says, well, Crom is not touching the base of the skeletons, he's touching the movement tray, so his 0.9 is going to move onto the tray, and now I'm too far to gain that bonus. As you can see, my other goblins already ran off. They ran towards the edge of the table. They don't rally. They just keep running off the table, which basically at that point is just like it's a pretty one-sided fight now, because I need that pyromancy and the witchcraft to help out. And as you can see, my orcs actually rallied. They're just chilling in the middle, close to the center of the table. My A-Rock's still holding on to those zombies. He's chasing my Space Rock. He chases them off the table. And Magic Phase. Magic Phase got 8 power dice. Goes ahead and he starts restoring zombies. He goes ahead into close combat. I challenge out with a Shady Git. He kills a Shady Git. He kills a bunch of my goblins. I stick because I'm steadfast. I stick because of steadfast all the way until the end. He has to kill the whole fucking unit for me not to stick. And I keep making those leadership 6 rolls. Over here, Crom is just going to town trying to kill some zombies, but he eventually out-combat reses Crom. Like I said, Crom, his big major fear in the world is banners and ranks, because he doesn't care about monsters, he doesn't care about tanks, he doesn't care about anything, but God forbid you have banners and ranks. That shit's scary. So Crom runs away, he chases, and he catches me. And as you can see, this is how the table looks. And yes, on the top that is a chess clock. Chris is he's pushing for chess clocks. He thinks that people who are slow players should be kind of marked out so you know who the slow players are. I don't know why he's pushing it. I read the whole article once and I kind of ignored it because it's just like I don't see it taking hold in the United States. But we're playing it we're playing with it. I think the main thing is the minute you forget to hit the button, it becomes null and void. It didn't really affect our game. It doesn't really matter. Like you hit the chess clock, you hit it, but it does kind of keep you noticing from who's slow playing. And I get that. I totally could see that being useful in a situation where you're playing somebody who's taking way too long on their turns, and then at the end of the game they want to stop a turn early or turn 2 turns early, and the chess clock kind of shows that. So I kind of agree with him on that point. I just see that the implementation of it's going to be really difficult, especially when they cost money to get chess clocks on a grand scale of like 100 players or whatever it is. Anyways, as you can see, this is how my table looks, and I think this is the last picture of the game, actually. Yeah, because my spider runs, the A-Rock's alive, my goblins eventually break, and I have nothing else on the table. I have my wolf chariots, but they're not going to do shit, and I have my 3 savages, which aren't going to do shit, and my pyromancy and witchcraft ran off the table, and I just said, you know what, Chris, I'm just going to shake it here, because this is just brutal. When a whole army has a 5-up regen, it's beyond overpowered. It's like, it's a little bit stupid. And I mean, maybe it would have been different without the regen. Who knows? Maybe it would, it's just a lot of things that annoyed me on this. And not taking anything away from Chris. Chris is actually a really smart player. He won. He was tied for first place in ETC with this list. Minor tweaks, I think, but or it might have been the same list. But it's a really hard list to deal with, and either you bring the tools to deal with it or you don't. And the problem I have with it, and this is my assessment of this, is you can bring the tools to defeat this list, but then you're not taking the tools to defeat other lists. Do you understand? And this is only one of many variables, very situational lists that can become an issue. I mean, like, it's similar to like a bloodthirster list. A bloodthirster list, either you bring the tools to deal with the bloodthirster or not. The major difference here is a bloodthirster doesn't restore his wounds. So the more wounds you do to the zombie dragon, if you cannot kill the zombie dragon in 1 turn, he's always going to be able to heal back. And that's what starts to kill you. Is that you're putting so much effort into trying to kill a zombie dragon, but if you can't kill it, you can't kill it, and then he just keeps restoring it back to full. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it was good dice or bad dice. I mean, granted, I could have fucking killed him with the impact hits, but he got ridiculously out of the box regens. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a tough list. It's a tough list for orcs and goblins to face in general. I don't think there's an orc and goblin player who has defeated Chris. I don't think many people have defeated Chris with this list. But I know he played the next game against Mike Maddox, which is a Dread Elf player, and that game ended up becoming a 10-10, which is really interesting. It went way too long, but it ended up being a 10-10. MVPs in this game, I have no. Crom almost fucked up the whole unit of skeletons. Almost. But basically, as you can see, these points that are popping up on the screen are actually kind of fake news, because a lot of the points that were done, he just restores the wounds back, so it kind of gets nullified. So, but as you can see, everybody's just kind of in the middle, 200 to 400 points. It's everything in between. Anyways, that's all I got for this game. My next game coming up is going to be a rebound game, but basically it's a game against Frank Shepta, and his high elf player. He's a high elf player, so be looking out for that, or be looking forward to that. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you guys like my video, hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. If you guys have any comments or feedback or any what's the word I'm looking for? Any feedback on, excuse me. Any feedback on how I could potentially deal with the zombie dragon list in future games, put it in the comment section below. I think for the most part, that's one thing that my list struggles against is zombie dragons, bloodthirsters, alpha carnosaurs, because they're big, tough monsters, and I don't have war machines. So if you guys have any comments or feedback about that, please, I would like to hear about it. And besides that, if you guys would like to show your support and get yourself a pair of Koopa dice, yeah, you could go onto my Patreon. I'm going to leave my Patreon link down below in the comment section. And sign up for that, and basically you will receive a pair of Koopa dice. For those of you who have already signed up, trust me, your dice will be coming as soon as I get them sent out. I am still waiting for ChessX to respond back to my order. But besides that, I think that's about it. Patreon, MVP, and like, share, subscribe, comments, feedback. I guess until next time, guys. See you next time. Take care, and peace.